Greetings, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. I have a few minutes here. I figured I'd do another video, do another episode, going back to our list here. And so, hope you guys are on your plan, on your purpose, continuing to grow and continue to gain conquests every day. And the biggest conquest, of course, is yourself, self-control, and kind of moving in the direction of discipline and becoming the best person you can become. So I'm going to, once again, as I usually do, is go ahead and kind of put things in the descriptions, shout outs. I hope you guys are enjoying that. If there's another way you want me to do it, that's great. I think it's really important to acknowledge you guys, because if you guys weren't here, I wouldn't be having even a channel to talk about this. So I want to appreciate you guys as much as possible, but I don't want to waste a lot of time, because a lot of people are talking about they want to see more content, and so I'm going to try to also address that as well. But please go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, donate. I feel very blessed to have all you guys on the channel. We're almost at 1,680 something, so that's just phenomenal. It's amazing how fast this is growing, but I just feel very blessed that we can get the message out and continue to get this message out to become strong, masculine males, and that's what's important. All right, great topic on this one. Actually, I want to combine two together. So the Rising King had a good comment a few weeks ago saying, is the entire world full of hookups? And then I also want to kind of address Eduardo and Rohit also mentioned one, talking about the norms and breaking norms with semen retention. So we're going to kind of combine these two together, and I'm not sure exactly what title I'll use on this one, but I like that it is the entire world full of hookups. So let's talk about this a little bit. All right, so we know, guys, that the 1% Club, the reason we're the 1% Club is that we are doing something different. Now, this wasn't always the case. I mean, there was a world at one point, the way I understood it and why I even sensed it back in the 1950s, not 50s, 60s, when I was growing up, is that there was a lot more retention going on, behind the scenes. Yes, of course, that they had, picture shows, all kinds of stuff, not the internet, but of course they had a lot of ways people can actually go ahead and still release, and I'm sure that was going on. But with the onslaught of media, internet, those type of things now, it's so much easier and accessible that there was a day where it was not really the norm. It was more looked upon as a very negative type of thing, that you'd be kind of like in the closet and hiding, do all the kind of stuff you were doing to do this. And now it's something the doctors are recommending and all kinds of stuff like that. And so it kind of gets to the heart of what we're talking about here. So as Rohit had said, and he was talking about the fact that, well, the doctors are all recommending that you need to go ahead and release to be able to, kind of keep healthy, and your the prostate, gland, all those type of things are going to be affected if you don't do that. Well, once again, I think we have to kind of look at society. We know that through the history of society, that there's been a lot of deviant behaviors. You saw it in the Roman Empire, you saw it in Babylon, you've seen all kinds of deviant behaviors. The society always moves in the direction of being first very strict, as societies are created, because you have to be, people have to kind of work together. And then as time goes on, history has shown over 200, 250 years, 300 years, that all of a sudden it destroys itself because of all the internal looseness, I guess is the word to use. I'm not sure there's a word anymore. Losing of the values and the ideas, and so all of a sudden now you get the deviant behaviors more involved. And that's when you start getting things like releasing and deviant behaviors that we see all over the place right now. So going back to the original question from Rising King, talking about, is the world full of hookups? It appears that's the way it sounds out there. Now, I will tell you that I don't, because I don't go out to the bars, I don't go out, anymore and see the action going on out there. I am not sure, but from what people are saying to me, they seem to say there's a lot of hookups going on. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, why would people do this? Okay? This is something we're seeing as a norm. that's perpetuated by society and by the media and all these other things, is saying, okay, this is great. Now, men have had this discussion for a long time, and obviously men, have that need to release, to procreate, things like that. Females do as well, and now females are at the point of saying, okay, now they want multiple partners as well. This is at least the talk that I'm hearing. But in reality, when you look at the situation, if you're trying to look for having children, long-term, those type of things, at some point the person has to realize this is not getting me anywhere. Really, it may give me a few minutes of pleasure here and there, but in the long run, is that something, am I living for that? And I think as people get into their 20s and 30s, especially late 20s, early 30s, they realize that this is just a nowhere end going. It's not going anywhere. There's no meaning. And I've seen many people over the years in their 30s and 40s now who are bitter. I saw a woman the other day who I think just kind of, she's not even dating men anymore. And so she's angry, and you could just see her tenseness in her voice. She's just like very bitter. And she talks to people with an anger to her, and she looks angry all the time. She looks mean. And you just sense this. You sense the frustration, because women by nature are nurturers. They want to give, and they want to do that. But if they have no one to give to, or they're taught in society not to give, it's going to be very highly frustrated. And I see this a lot of times. And if they're not, if the relationships are not solid relationships between men and women, those things suffer as well. There has got to be a head shift of a male and a female, masculine energy and feminine energy. I don't care who you have together. Even in some of the deviant behaviors we see in the Bible, those people have to have male and female energy to be able to survive. You cannot have two males and females, even though it may biologically appear that they're doing this. In reality, the energy behind all of that is still is male and female. So what you're doing is with semen retention, you are breaking the norm. As Eduardo talked about, you are breaking the norm. You are rising above and breaking all these norms that are set in society, that anything is possible. Any sort of behavior you're okay with, it's okay. There is no Bible, there's no commandments, none of that. If you want to have intercourse with anybody, that's great. Well, we know that's a dysfunctional society, and we know that leads to self-destruction. We know that. I mean, you could just look at any kind of dynasty that's happened. When they start allowing that to happen, and people have no self-control, and they have no ability to monitor themselves, they end up self-destructing. And this is why semen retention starts off as very crucial, especially for a lot of your younger guys, and younger women too. I'm getting a couple of responses from women as well. Self-control is the hardest thing to learn in this world, as far as I'm concerned. You got to take your ego out of it, and as a warrior, you have to say to yourself, this is something that I believe in, and then long term, this is going to pay off for me through the Lord, thinking of God, relationship with God, and also in dealing with other people. I'm not just going to chase around women or men all day long and hook up all the time. Even though society is saying, okay, this is the great thing to do, you want to be empowered, men empowered, women empowered, all this kind of stuff. Remember, going back to the Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility. And the people forget about the responsibility part of this. And this is where the idea is that, and I think Jordan Peterson had said this one time too, you always pay a price when you hook up with people. You may not feel it, you may not see it at the time, but in the long run you do. I mean, you start sleeping with multiple partners, you never know what's happening. You never know what kind of diseases you might be getting, and you never know who, if you have children, whose children they are. All these things create all kinds of messes that you can very easily avoid. And having a short-term pleasure is not worth the long-term type of ramifications of this. So, Rising King, you may be correct. We may be living in a very immoral world right now. We may be having hookups all over the place. I'm not seeing those myself, but see, I'm not in that realm. I'm kind of living day by day. And from what I'm seeing with people, I deal with people who, I don't believe they're hooking up all night long. I think some people also like to talk a lot. They build themselves up. I'm sure it's happening a lot more than used to be. But the bottom line really is you can just imagine how that takes the soul out of people. Every time they have to sleep with a new person, every night of, if it's every night of the week or every, twice a week, 3 times a week, what it might be. Can you just imagine all that? Not only including the energy, but the fact that you are extending energy, physical, emotional, all these type of things. And what are you really accomplishing out of this? This is the whole key. So when I talk to young people about this, I'm saying, what is your end goal here? Are you just trying to look for pleasure? And does that pleasure continue? We know that if you sleep with one person, yeah, you get some pleasure there, but now you need to get more and more and more, and you're not happy with the same type of thing. So now you're looking for more deviant behaviors. I call them deviant because they're not really of God. Those type of things are things that are trying to control, and a lot of intercourse is controlling people. You want to control your person. So now you want to control them more and more. And now you get into really kind of, really sickening type behaviors because you're not satisfied. You're not going to be satisfied because the thrill has to be longer and stronger. So in summary, I know I'm going a little bit long on this one, but in summary, basically, the Rising King, you might be correct, right? We may be seeing hookups all over the place. I'm not part of that when I see it because I just don't hang around those type of people. If you're hooking up, that's your situation. You have to relate to your God about that. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I would recommend having one person and eventually getting together with that person. Whether you get married to that person, that's going to be your choice. I believe in marriage, but not everybody does anymore. But the bottom line really is when you look at this, the key thing is that you're going to break norms. Semen retention is breaking norms. And basically when you're breaking norms, you're standing out. You're going to get criticized. You're going to get people not be happy with you. You're going to get people who are going to be mad at you and angry with you because you're standing up for something. You're standing up for your relationship with the Lord, and in my case, Lord Jesus Christ, and your God, and you're standing up for the idea that the most important thing in your life is not women, it's serving God's purpose and to achieving the best type person you can become. And that's what's important. And that's why you become a warrior. You look at the great warriors of the world, Alexander the Great, a lot of these people, yeah, they had their issues, but when it came down to battle time, they were focusing on the battle. I can guarantee you that. Napoleon was focusing on the battle. When he started losing that focus and worrying about Josephine and everybody else, that's when he started losing. This is where you have to be careful. You got to conserve your energy. You have to fight like a warrior. But when the conquest is finished, that's the time you have to worry the most. Most people don't realize that when they win the battle, this is when the enemy can sneak up and attack them back. When it seems like everything is calm. So always keep on guard, warriors. Make sure you're focusing on your purpose, staying on your purpose, and don't get tempted in this world of hookups, and make sure that you're breaking norms, but that's good. Nothing wrong with breaking norms. You're creating your own path. And as my man Sinatra, even though I don't agree with everything he was doing, my man Sinatra says you got to do it your way. And your way is following the Lord and your God, and that's a key type of thing. So God bless you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day tomorrow. I'm doing this at night, but I'm going to try to post it in the morning so you guys have something in the morning. But have you guys have a great Saturday and continue to battle on. And remember, every day is a new day to a wise warrior. God bless you guys and battle on!